access, food access, food access, food access. A vegan cooking show. Food access, food access, food access, food access. A vegan cooking show.
Hey, welcome to Food Access, a vegan cooking show. My name is Maricela, and I will be one of your hosts.
Yeah. Whoop, 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 whoop.
And I am Ricardo, and I will be your other host today, as well as being the house cook for the show.
Woo! Yeah!
Well, as the house cook, you get this hat.
Wow, it's a cool hat.
But you can't put it on until you start cooking.
All right, so we'll leave it here.
And what are you going to make today?
Today, we are making frijoles licuados. So frijoles licuados is a staple of Salvadorian cuisine, and it's a side dish that is enjoyed with pretty much every breakfast or dinner, and you can find it with most dishes in El Salvador.
Frijoles licuados. That literally translates to black bean blend. Kind of sounds like a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Do you want to say that 4 times fast, starting now?
Let's do it.
Black bean blend.
Black bean blend, black bean blend, black bean blend, black
Hey,
bean
you were
blend.
surprisingly good at that.
Thank you.
Well, I prepared a fun and silly segment that starts with this cauldron.
Wow.
There are important questions about beans which you must try to get correctly. And we have 30 seconds to answer them. Gail, start the timer. Okay. When is National Bean Day?
March 31st. You choose one, lentils or beans?
Lentils. Wait, no, beans. Which Greek philosopher hated beans?
Aristotle. How tall was the tallest bean plant?
10 feet. I don't
Sure.
know.
2 seconds, 3 seconds. Are beans happy in the can or in the bag?
Bag.
All right, that's it.
You didn't do that in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
These are very tough questions.
They're very tough. I had no idea what any of them.
Well, I think we're ready to start cooking.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I see you got your hat on.
Yep.
And you're going to show us what ingredients we have here.
Yeah, so for the frijoles licuados, the main parts of the dish are the vegetables and, of course, the beans. For the vegetables, we're going to have 1 onion, 1 green pepper, and some garlic. About 3 or 4 cloves of garlic will be enough. And then for the beans are black beans on brie. You can basically find them at any grocery store, just like a can of black beans on brie. They're very cheap, or you can make your own. For accessibility and for ease of access, you can just buy a can of beans. And then we have the fresh cilantro, and then for the spices, we're gonna have a little bit of jalapeno. You don't need to add jalapeno in it. These are actually tamed pickled jalapenos that you can also buy in a can, but they add a nice kick to the dish without making it too spicy. And then the spices that we're gonna be adding later is going to be some oregano, some onion powder, cumin, garlic powder, and then some paprika. And then we'll add that later into the blend. But the first step for everything right now is to cut up our green peppers and onions. And then we're gonna show you how to do that in our first cooking tip of the day.
The cooking tip of the day.
Yeah.
Cool.
Our cooking tip today is going to be how to slice up an onion. So I have an onion here, and you see that there are 2 sides of the onion. There's the hairy side, and then there is the little, this other side that's not kind of hairy. So to start off, you want to cut a little bit on the non-hairy side. So on the side that has the little tip, that's shooting out, right? So we cut a little bit there. And then we want to cut in the middle of the onion right there, right So with that out, just slice it down the middle. Now here, you want to take the first layer of the onion out. So just you can peel that right off. And then you have the onion ready to cook. Now when you cut the onion, it's important to I hold the knife on this end because it gives me a good grip on the knife and it gives me a lot of mobility for it. There are some people that choose to hold it like this. That's fine, as long as you're not grabbing the edge. So this is going to give you a lot of control. Now your hand positioning on the onions, make sure that your fingers are curled in. So essentially, this is the shape that I have on my hand. Because what happens is that if you're cutting up, if you're slicing down, the knife is going to go out of your fingers. It's not going to go into your fingers. So if you had your fingers up like this, then you can cut your fingers, right? So you want to curl them in. If you're seeing your fingertips, that's insecure. You want to be not seeing your fingertips. With that, you just slice up from the side that you already cut. You just start slicing up in a circular motion. And we want to do a circular motion because that way the onion doesn't let out all the chemicals that are gonna make you cry. So if you slice it up this way, then you're not gonna cry up. Yep, and then there you have a slice up onion. And depending on how long you want your onion, you can cut up a little bit more. For this recipe, I just slice up one time and then leave it at that. And then you can do the same thing with the other side. The second cooking tip is we're gonna cut up a green pepper. So the green peppers, you want to have the little stem out facing you. And then while it's facing you, you wanna grab your knife and cut the side of it. You don't want to cut like in the middle. You want to cut on the side of it and just cut down, which is gonna give you a nice cut like this. And so you're gonna wanna do that around. So turn it out and then do the same thing on this side. Do the same thing on that side. And you do this. And then that's gonna leave you with the side with all the seeds that you can compost. And then this side you can still cut up. Now the sides that we have, you can stack them up and then just slice them right up, right? And there you go, and that's a sliced green pepper.
Well, thanks for the cooking tip.
Yeah.
I think it will be really useful, especially for me. So now that we know a little bit about that, what is the first step of the actual recipe?
All right, so now that we have our cut up green peppers and onions and our minced garlic, we need to warm up the pan. So set the pan to a medium-high temperature. And then we're gonna take some oil. I like to use olive oil, and then put about a tablespoon of oil. So that's good. And then just let the oil cook up a little bit because you don't want to put in your vegetables cold. Like you want it to be a little bit hot. One easy way to know when the oil is cooked is you can grab one little onion and just put it on the oil, and if it starts bubbling, then that's good. So that's bubbling right now.
Oh, that was fast.
So yeah, because it's on high, but yep, so put it medium high. All right, and then we just put all the green peppers and onions on the pan.
Does it matter what type of onion, like white onion, red onion?
It doesn't quite matter. I mean, it's your preference. I like actually yellow onions for this. They're a little bit sweeter, and they're sometimes I find red onions can be a little bit harsher. Like red onions is more for if you want to just eat the onions without cooking them.
On a salad.
Yeah, like on a salad. But I usually do red onions, and even the green peppers. You could use like red peppers or yellow peppers, see, as long as they're like some kind of sweet bell peppers, right? And you can mix them up too. Usually I just do green peppers and onions. Yep, you can stir them up. And now we're gonna cook this until for about 5 or so minutes until the onion is a little bit translucent. And actually, for the Salvadorian recipe, you want to burn it a little bit. So you want to go past the point where it's translucent and then have the little char on the onions and green peppers, because that adds a little bit more flavor to this dish. Yep.
Can I try doing that?
Yeah.
Do you hold it like this?
Yeah, kind of. And then you sort of push it and then pull it.
No.
So, yep, so you grab it, so you push it and pull. Oh.
Okay. Oh. Take some practice.
Yep. Can put that out.
Okay.
Yep, and now we wait for that to cook for about 5 minutes. Make sure to use a wide pan because after this is cooked, we're gonna put the beans right back on the pan, and then the wider the pan is gonna help the beans cook a little bit faster and more evenly. Whereas if you have like a deep pan, then like the bottom is gonna start cooking, and then you're gonna have things on the top that won't be cooking too much.
All right. Makes sense.
Yep.
A wide pan, but one that's not too deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like this one's kind of perfect for it. Yep. And then you're gonna have some beans, so it has to be like a big pan. Yep. And now it's starting to look translucent. On some recipes, if it calls for sweated onions, that's about when you want to do it. But on this recipe, we want to do it a little further.
You said the Salvadorian way.
Yeah, it's the Salvadorian way. All right. So that's about where you want it. And now the next step for this is when the onions are a little brown and they're about starting to black, then we take the minced garlic that we made, and then we just put it on it. So the garlic, we don't want to brown it or black it, because when you black the garlic, it gets a bitter taste. So you want to put the garlic just about 2 minutes before you finish this cooking, and then add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. So just a pinch of salt and pepper. Right, and you let that cook for about 1 or 2 more minutes. It doesn't need to cook too much.
What does a pinch really mean? Like, I know you kind of went 4 times around.
Yeah.
Is that just like a little?
So a pinch means that imagine if I had the salt on a container like this, then you would literally grab a pinch of salt and just put it on it. right? Just a pinch of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a little harder to measure with a grinder or something. About 4 or 5 grinds, I'd say, or enough to cover most of what's in it with a little bit. The next step for this is we're gonna transfer all of this to the blender. The black beans, you can just put them right on the blender. So make sure we don't drop them. Okay. Then we put the...
That's a large can, right? That's a
Yeah,
large
yeah,
can of
it's
beans.
a large can of
Okay.
beans. Yep. And then we just straight up put the green peppers and onions.
Oh. You got a stray ones going down.
Oh, yep, yep. Sometimes they like to jump out. Be like, not today. Not today. Okay. It's fine if you don't get all of it. That's gonna make things more flavorful. And then with that, we put some cilantro. You don't need to chop it up since it's gonna get blended. So just grab a handful and just put it on there. Yep, that's good. And then we put our blends of spices. Spice it all up. Now I like to put in the pickled jalapenos. This is optional. You certainly don't need to do this. But if you want the beans with a tiny little kick, some tame jalapenos will do it. And then some salt and pepper.
Another pinch or a little bit more?
Like a pinch, yeah. So when you blend it, you'll be able to adjust the taste there. Yep. Yep, and now we just blend it all up. All right, so you essentially want to blend it until you don't see any big chunks of beans left. So about 1 or 2 minutes is fine. Yep, and then this is where you get to adjust the taste. So this is where you taste it and make sure that everything tastes good. If it needs more salt, you add a little bit more salt. Yeah, so it needs a tiny little bit more salt. All right, should be good. Now we transfer the beans straight up into the same pan. Don't clean the pan, leave the oil in the pan. It's exactly what you need. And then the beans go right in it. Can you do me a favor and then put the temperature in about mid to low for about 10 to 15 minutes.
So how are the beans looking?
They're looking good. So as you can see in the bubbles are going to start spitting out darker beans.
Oh.
Yep. So that's kind of the color that you're going to be looking for. Now, while this is cooking, you want to be scraping the bottom and then stirring up a little bit. Now, you don't need to constantly stir it up. This is not a risotto. It's just blended beans. But just make sure that the beans don't stick too much on the bottom.
This is still too light of a color.
Yeah, it's a little bit too light. You're looking for a little bit darker. Yep.
I see it getting darker.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's getting darker. It's not just the color, but also the consistency. So as it cooks, some of that water is gonna get evaporated, and the beans are gonna start to get thicker. Now you don't want to overcook it, that everything gets too dry, but you want them to have a nice consistency. And then if the bubbles spit out a color that's about the same color as all the other beans, that's when you know it's about ready.
And I see the consistency is also a lot. I can visually see it change.
Yep.
Definitely thicker.
Yeah, we can see it change. It's getting thicker. So, yep. So I think this is ready.
It's ready. All right. How would you present this dish?
Yeah. So usually this is a side dish. So you would put it in a plate along with some other kind of protein. At home, I like to put it along with some tofu scramble, or just some chunky tofu, or you can just eat it with some bread. Or most commonly in El Salvador, we use tortillas, the thick tortillas, and then just put it on top of it, or you can just put it in a plate and eat it with the tortillas.
So today, what are we eating it with?
We're eating it with bread.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's plate it.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, you put some little cilantro on it.
Yeah.
Got some toast, some multigrain toast. And what would this be? Like a breakfast, right?
Yeah. Usually in breakfast. It's a very easy breakfast to make. Once you have this done, you can just reheat the beans either on the stovetop or in the microwave, and then just put some bread on it, and it's a quick and easy breakfast.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so do you put it on top? Do you like dip it?
It's a preference. I mean, if you want to put it on top, that's good. You can eat it like as like a little toast, or you can just eat some of the bread. You can eat it however you want to. Honestly.
All right. That's good.
Pretty good.
You get all the flavors in.
Yeah. Yep. You can really taste all of it.
I feel like a lot of people would be surprised. It's like a breakfast staple for you.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have thought. You know, I'm from Peru, and we also don't use many beans as like breakfast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think many Americans too. You know, United States not common, but I feel like you get protein in, and it's like filling.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a good breakfast option.
It's a lot of protein, iron. They're very nutritious. I mean, El Salvador, you eat them anywhere. Beans are one of the main fillings in pupusas, which hopefully we will have an episode on that soon.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else do you do? You said you do it on toast, and then you mentioned a breakfast platter, which was interesting.
Yeah. So breakfast platter in El Salvador, it's very common to eat it with fried plantains.
Yeah.
Or avocados.
Like avocado on top.
Yep, like avocado on top or avocado on the side. Your tofu scramble. Yep, you can do a tofu scramble.
Beans, tofu scramble.
Yep, fried plantains.
Ooh.
Bread, and
or
then
tortillas if you have that.
tortillas if you have that, and then really that's all you need. Yeah.
And so, I know we asked you to make a dish that you wanted to share, that was important to you. Why did you choose beans for the first option for you to show us?
Yes, because I think beans are one of the most important dishes of El Salvador. Sure, people say pupusas, right? But beans is the most accessible food in the country. It doesn't matter if you're poor, if you're rich, if you're middle class, you're gonna eat beans, and beans are going to be in your fridge, in your table at all time. Rich people have it in beans, poor people have it in beans. I remember when I went back to El Salvador, and when I went to teach sixth grade girls English, right? And they had lunch in there, and their lunch that they gave them was beans and tortillas.
Oh.
Yeah, beans and tortillas or with rice, but it's one of the main sustenance of people in the country.
Common.
No matter where no matter your social status or anything, beans are sort of they
Common
tie
ground.
everything. They're common ground of the entire cuisine of the country.
Nice.
Hmm.
What's your story with it? Did you need to veganize it in any way?
Actually, no. With beans, some people do put things like lard, but that's not necessary. You really don't need to veganize it. I mean, you really don't need to do anything additional to veganize it because the recipe for beans is really just beans with salt, pepper, garlic, onions, and that's it. It's one of the easiest recipes that you can make that do not have any animal products whatsoever.
And like, you made a lot, right? From just that one can,
Yeah,
like this
just
big
that-
of cans.
Hmm.
What do? You put it in your fridge, and just throughout the week, you have it either for breakfast or a snack throughout the day.
Yep, that's right.
Nice.
Yep.
It keeps well.
Yeah, it keeps well. It's easy to cook, easy to reheat, and then it's very cheap and very accessible.
Well, thanks for teaching us and me how to make frijoles licuados. And yeah, thanks for coming on the show. As you know, you're part of the host of Food Access. Today you were the cook. Maybe one day I'll, cook something up. If I don't burn it, I'm not as good
It's
as
okay.
you. But yeah, thanks for coming to Food Access. Thanks, Ricardo.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at Food Access, a vegan cooking show. We believe that delicious, enriching, and accessible food is a human right, and that preparing a meal is a loving action towards your community. Thank you for everyone who made the show possible, and to Ricardo for being our house cook. Join us next time for our new recipes and for cooking tips of the days. Here are our social media accounts where you can follow us and see where we're playing. Thank you. See you later. All right, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
I've tried many different ones, and that pie is like the best.
Oh, yeah, I believe me. When I do a sauce or when I do something out, because it's so big, I
Yeah.
crank that heat up and reduce it down
Yeah,
to
so you can
liquid.
reduce it.
Or in this case, you were moderating your heat so you didn't burn up.
Help yourself. Help yourself.
So, yeah, that works. You want something wide, because that makes it a very thin layer.
Yep.
And the water comes off a lot faster. Because like you said, you gotta